Hi, I'm Turbo from Bittoon, the game designer for the board game Age of Bitcoin. In the board game, we all take on the role of investors who must accumulate wealth through various assets in the game. They include Bitcoin, gold, and also any other asset type cards, which are called investment cards. The game is played over 5 rounds, and whoever has the highest wealth at the end is the winner. Alright, let's talk about the board setup phase. First of all, we'll start with the central board, which is called the Global Bitcoin Trust Board. This will tell which round we are playing now. Once we know, we can place the round marker on it. I'll place the round marker at the number 1 as it's the first round. After that, just bring the Global Bitcoin Trust ring to place here. And if you notice, the ring contains 2 sides, one for 1 or 2 players and the other for 3 or more players. We align them like this. Now, for example, I choose to set up the game for 3-4 players. And last but not least, I want to show you this. It is the highlight called the Global Bitcoin Trust Indicator. Place it in the center like this, pointing the arrow to the world symbol at the top. Let's see the action board, which looks like this. There are a total of 3 pieces, 1, 2, and 3. The action bar contains 2 sides. One is for 3 or more players placed, and the other is for only 1 to 2 players. Place them like this. Align all 3 sides together, connecting them to the center like this. And for the final part, there is another board on the bottom side, which is called the FOMO and Breaking News board. It will be placed at the bottom, and then place the FOMO cards here below like this, while the above space is for the Breaking News cards. After that, place the Bitcoin board like this. As you can see, its color matches the action board. And then pick 7 Bitcoin tokens and place them in order from top to bottom like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Once placed, the middle slot will be perfectly filled. Then place this piece, which will indicate the current level of market FOMO, the FOMO track, at the position 0, and place all remaining Bitcoin tokens in the common supply area. And for setting up the gold board, it is similar to setting up the Bitcoin board. Just place all the gold tokens in the common supply area, then place the FOMO track on position 0, like we do with the Bitcoin board. After that, just place the learning board for 3-4 players, matching the color of the action board. 4. Next, it's time to shuffle the learning cards, in which its pile contains more than 20 cards. Randomly face up 3 of the learning cards and place them on each slot in order like this. Further, just place all of the others as a pile below like this. Finally, leave all the block tokens beside the board like this, as they will be used on the learning board. Don't forget to place the FOMO track here at position 0, just like on the other boards. In the case of the last board, we will call it the investing board, and we will have 3 to 4 participants, just like before, bringing cards that come in 2 varieties, Era 1 and Era 2 cards, with the Era 2 cards to be set aside for now. And the Era 1 cards will be used from the first round until the 3rd round. Shuffle the cards thoroughly, then randomly lay out a total of 9 cards. Place here and here. There are many types of cards in which elements include icons, points, income generating rates, and various abilities, which we will discuss again later. Finally, place the marker on 2 areas. The first one is placed on the FOMO track, and the other is placed on the inflation track at the bottom of the board. Here, the key distinctive feature of the game is, it contains the Bitcoin price chart board and the gold price chart board. For your information, both of them are made of magnets. The fun fact is that players can choose freely to lay the board flat or place it on a stand, already provided in the box. Let's take a look at the candlesticks, which look like this. There are 2 colors for the candlesticks. The green candlesticks indicate the price is rising, and red candlesticks indicate the price is falling. There are small and large candlesticks. You can attach the candlesticks on the magnetic boards. For example, to attach a green candlestick on the Bitcoin price chart board like this, indicates that Bitcoin is trending upwards. Set the candlesticks aside. Now, let's set up the player board. A player board looks like this. To start, take the Bitcoin Trust tokens, which are 7 in total, and place them on the check marks like this. See, it matches the Bitcoin symbol. Also, there are the Gold Trust tokens, which are 7 in total. Place on check marks like this, all 7 of them. Next is the investing trust tokens, which are in the form of cards, and there are 7 in total. Place all the cards on each slot in order, but don't forget to leave the top left slot empty. So all slots are perfectly filled, apart from the empty top left one recently mentioned. Now let's take a look at the middle part of the player board, which contains the icons resembling dice. And this token represents a mining machine switch on a Bitcoin mining machine. Place all 4 tokens over the dice icons like this. Place them. Finally, my friend, in the board game, each player can choose a character from a lot of various types of characters provided in the box, depending on which type he or she wants to take the role as. To set up the game as a demonstration, I'll choose to take a role as the investor. Place the character part into the player board. It looks very nice after it is attached to the board, right? And then it's time to take this EXP token and place it at the number 0. That's all for the setup. Let's find the first player. The first player takes all the starting resources, accordingly specified on the board. In the case of an investor, he or she needs to receive $30. Place the money on the board like this and choose which to unlock: Bitcoin Trust, Gold Trust, or Investment Card Trust. The second, third, and fourth players follow the same steps, but the money amount received will increase orderly. $2 for the second, $3 for the third, and $4 for fourth. Now it's time to play the board game Age of Bitcoin together. We will play a total of 5 rounds, starting with the first player. Please follow along here. Each player's worker is placed orderly on the turn order area like this. In the game, there are 5 action zones available for each player to choose in each turn. To perform an action, pick up a worker and place it on that specific zone related to that action. Let's see how many zones to play. Let's start from here. This zone is to buy or sell Bitcoin. Once we have completed the action, this will happen. Firstly, let me explain how to buy or sell Bitcoin. In the next turn, we must always move the worker elsewhere. The very first thing you should know about the game is that we cannot choose to place the worker in the same zone as in our latest turn. I might then move my worker to the gold zone next turn, or perhaps move it to the investment zone to buy or sell a card. Also, I might place it on the learning zone to buy a learning card to unlock my trust and increase my EXP. Another interesting zone to perform an action is to upgrade the Bitcoin mining machine. I'll later tell you how to upgrade your mining machine on your player board. Eventually, if you don't know what to do next, you can pick up your worker and place it here to pass your action phase, like going to sleep. To be the first player to pass your action phase, just take the worker. Place it on the first slot and you'll receive a $3 bonus. The next player to pass the action phase will get a $2 bonus, and the following player will get a $1 bonus. The next thing you should know is that the first player to pass will be the first player to perform an action in the next round. In the case you are the last player now, as the second last player has just passed his or her action phase, you will have only 2 actions remaining before being forced to pass automatically. After the game is over the 5th round, to be the winner, let's take a look at the amounts of your Bitcoin tokens, gold tokens, investment cards, and look at your player board, which contains your character card and the Bitcoin mining machine, as well as the bonus points, which are called majority. To perform an action on the Bitcoin zone, place the worker on the action slot like this. Once placed, you can choose how many Bitcoins to buy or sell. Let's say you want to buy 2 Bitcoins. When buying, start taking the Bitcoin tokens from the bottom and move upwards. Currently, the Bitcoin price is $5, meaning the first Bitcoin you have to pay for to get it is $5, right? For the next Bitcoin you want to buy, as it's on the upper slot with the symbol plus $1, so it's $6 for it. As $5 plus $6 is $11, that's the total price you have to make the payment for the 2 Bitcoins. After the buying action is done, move the FOMO track 1 step upwards. When the FOMO track moves from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 2, that should be fine. But when it moves from 2 to 3, you could notice the price increase icon. It means the Bitcoin price currently increases 1 step upwards. A small candlestick is for 1 step price change. So place it on the magnetic board after the latest price at $5 upwards to $7 like this. The Bitcoin tokens recently bought will be put on the player board at the mark check with Bitcoin icons. In this case, I've bought 2 Bitcoin tokens, so I place them like this. And as you can see, the third slot is still locked, so I cannot buy the third Bitcoin right now. To sell some Bitcoins, in this case, I will sell my 2 Bitcoins as an example. I'll pick up all of these Bitcoin tokens from my player board and place it on the Bitcoin board. To sell some Bitcoins, place them from the top to the bottom like this. To buy is from the bottom to the top, right? It's opposite between buying and selling. Now the price is at $7 plus $1, right? So I get $8 for selling this one. The second one is at $7 without a plus. Now I get $7, which is totally $15 for selling 2 Bitcoins. After selling, move the FOMO track upwards for 1 step. Remember, to buy or sell, just place your worker first and then finish the action. To buy, it's from the bottom upwards, and to sell, it's from the top downwards. At last, move the FOMO track. On the Bitcoin board, sometimes all Bitcoin tokens are sold out. So what will happen next? For example, right now there are only 2 Bitcoins available on the board with the price at $5 plus $2. It means whoever buys these 2 tokens, they have to pay $7 for each, with a total of $14. If someone buys them all, the supply is out of stock, suddenly triggering a 2-step price increase. Place the large candlestick on the board, so the price moves from $5 to $9 now. To compare what happens to the real world, it's like when the supply is out of stock, so the scarcity drives the price. I know you got the idea. Next, fill 6 Bitcoin tokens onto the board again. Fill from the top to the bottom like this. Fill 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6, just like this. The opposite case is when someone sells Bitcoins. For example, right now the Bitcoin price is at $9, right? But look at this, minus $1. To sell, we have to fill from top to bottom, right? So I must start from the top first. 9 minus 1, it's $8, right? This means if someone sells here, they get 8. If someone sells here, what happens? It's 9 minus 2, so they get $7, right? The first one is $8, and the other is absolutely $7. The next one is $7 again. Whenever the slots are full, it's when a large number of people sell their Bitcoins, suddenly triggering the 2-step price decrease. It's common that when something is sold in a large amount, its price eventually decreases. So it's 2 steps downwards here. After that, clear 5 tokens off from the bottom to top. Here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Done. Next, regarding the gold action, it's not that much different from Bitcoin action. We place 1 worker here and then choose whether to buy or sell gold bars. Let's say I choose to buy 1 bar. Currently, the price is at $6 according to the gold price chart board. So I pay $6 and take 1 gold bar to place on my player board. Once the purchase is complete, move the FOMO track for 1 step upwards as always. In this case, the FOMO track moves onto the price increase icon, so I place a small green candlestick on the magnetic board after the latest price. This 1-step increase means the gold price moves from $6 to $8 now. To place a worker onto the action slot, you might notice something interesting right around here. As you can see, if there are totally 4 players, there will be 3 action slots to place the workers, which means the second player can trade gold and the third player can also trade gold. However, if there are only 3 players in the game, there will be only 2 action slots available for placing the workers, meaning the third player must wait until someone leaves a slot. If there are only 2 players in the game, just flip to the other side of the board where only 1 action slot is available right here. This creates a good opportunity for strategic action timing, right? I know you got that. Now let's talk about the investing card action. To buy or sell an investment card, firstly place a worker on the action slot like the same. This action is for buying or selling an investment card. Let me tell you how to do it step by step. The first thing you should know about this action is that you can choose whether to only buy or sell 1 card. You cannot buy or sell more than a card at the same time. And you might notice this. The price of each card is different. As it is different, the cost you have to pay to buy it is indicated right here at this icon. For example, this card is priced at $10. You see it? If I want to buy this card, I must pay for its price plus the inflation rate, which is currently at $2. So to buy this card, it totally costs $12. Once already paid for both the card price plus the inflation rate, take the card and place it on the player board. After that, please move each face-up card on the board downwards from top to bottom, and then open a new card from the pile to place on the empty slot. Once you're done, don't forget to always move the FOMO track up one step as always. Now you could notice that whether it's the action for Bitcoin, gold, or investment card, every time you complete an action, remember to move the FOMO track up. Earlier we talked about buying cards, right? For selling cards, it's the same process. After placing the worker, choose a card that you want to sell and take it from your player board. Let's say I want to sell a card called Research Lab. You see, the card's price is quite high. The purchase price is 18. Now remember that the selling price of the card should always be $2 less. So if the purchase price is 18, subtract 2, and what do you get? 16. This means the card's value is now 16. But don't forget to add the inflation rate. Add the inflation at $3 to $16, which makes it $19. This means the player will receive $19 when selling this card. Let's go through another example to avoid confusion. For instance, a player wants to sell a card named Social Security, which has a value of $6. If purchased for $6, how much would it sell for? Subtract another $2, always subtract 2. So 6 minus 2 is 4. Then add the inflation. 4 plus 3 equals 7. This means the player will receive $7 for selling this card. As for the components of each card, what do they include? Look at the age icon. It indicates which era the card is in. This is an Era 1 card, and an Era 2 card looks like this. Next, it's the name of the card. This card's name is Single House. To explain, it is a kind of the cards that is something like a property or real estate, so its tag is a house symbol like this. This part is the value of the card, which is $10. Next, right here, it's the icon that everyone sees is something that looks like a gear, right? In the game, this is called the maintenance cost, which is a fee we must always pay when a bubble crash event occurs on an investment card, which I will explain later. Remember this for now. This is the maintenance cost, meaning whatever requires maintenance, the owner must pay a total of $1 to maintain this card, or their cards could be forced to be sold. Next, this is the wealth point, meaning whoever has this at the end of the game gets 2 wealth points. That sounds easy, right? Now let's take a look at other cards. For example, this one is an Era 1 card named Exchange. Its tag is a business. Its price is $18, and its maintenance cost is $2, which the owner has to pay if the bubble crash occurs. This card provides 3 wealth points at the end of the game. And this part is also important. At the bottom of the card, it is the card's abilities. There are a lot of types of abilities, and you could read them all in the guidebook. But if I have to give you an example, the ability of this card named Exchange is an interesting one. Let me explain. The card generates a $1 income per 1 Bitcoin you hold, but the maximum is $3. If the card owner has 2 Bitcoins, the card generates $2. If the owner has 3 Bitcoins, the card generates $3. But if holding 4 Bitcoins, it still generates only $3 according to the maximum. Now it's time for us to take a look at the learning action. I must say like this. Every time we want to buy various assets, whether it's BTC, gold, or cards, we need to have at least 1 available slot for it. At the start of the game, every player has only 1 available slot for a Bitcoin token called a Bitcoin Trust. Similarly, there is also 1 trust slot for gold called a Gold Trust, and also 1 trust slot for an investment card called an Investment Trust. This means if a player doesn't perform a learning action on the learning zone at all, he or she eventually can buy only 1 Bitcoin, 1 gold, and 1 investment card. Then how to unlock more slots? Easily, just place the worker on a learning action slot on the learning board. Once placed, choose which face-up card we want to learn. And you could see its cost is here, $5, $8, and $4. But don't forget the additional cost if you choose the cards above. For this card, $9 in total, and 4 plus 2, which means $6 for this card. Let's say I want to buy this one. Its cost is $5, right? And plus none, so I have to pay $5 for it. Once already paid, I have to choose one. Investment card or gold. If I choose the investment card, I unlock 1 card trust then. As you can see, it specifies 1 trust increase. You could notice the investment card icon with the number 1 with arrow up symbol. It means to unlock 1 investment card trust slot. It's the same way in the case that I choose gold. I then unlock one gold trust. At the top locked slot, slide the token into the other side like this. See, it works similarly with almost the same icon, changing from the card to the gold symbol instead. At first I can have only one gold, but now I can have two. It's like when I have more knowledge about gold, so I have more trust in it and can hold more of it. That's what it works in the real world too, right? However, don't forget that you can choose only one asset on the learning card to unlock its trust, or not both, once already learned. Always get the EXP increase. This is important to up-level your character card, so don't forget it even once in the game. In this case, it's +3 EXP increase, so I move my EXP track 3 steps forwards, 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, EXP track helps you to unlock the further abilities on your character card. My character card is an investor. If I'm at level 1, I'll get an income of $18. However, if the EXP track reaches level 2, let's assume it reaches that point. Every round, I will receive an income increase from $18 to $19. It's like getting a higher salary, and at the end of the game, I also get 1 wealth point. See, this is the ability gained with EXP track. You can see it on your character card, and I must mention that different characters have different abilities, so have fun with them. Right now, let's assume I just want to buy this card. How much is it? It's $8, plus 1 makes it $9. So I have to pay $10 and get $1 back. After that, let's take a look here. Same here. I can choose whether to learn more about Bitcoin or gold. And it's 2 slots unlocked for this one. So if I choose gold, then I unlock 2 gold trust slots, 1 and 2, alright? If I choose Bitcoin, I unlock 2 Bitcoin trust slots, 1 and 2. However, this time, the important point here is that Bitcoin remains an asset with limited investor trust, as you can see. Whenever there is one of the players who chooses to unlock a Bitcoin trust, notice this, 2 Bitcoin trusts are unlocked now. And what's next? Once already unlocked, just look at the globe icon like this here, which is the Global Bitcoin Trust. It says to slide the Global Bitcoin Trust by 2 steps. Now everyone, bring the Global Bitcoin Trust board to up in front of the camera here. Do you remember the board we set up at the beginning? If they slide Bitcoin 2 steps forwards, and then rotate the arrow here by 2 steps. 1, 2. This indicates that the world now trusts in Bitcoin up to this point. It means the more players trust in Bitcoin, the more the level of global Bitcoin trust will increase significantly. Now let's see the importance of global Bitcoin trust. What does it tell? It contains 4 levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's say the global Bitcoin trust is at level 1 now. This means we can do nothing with Bitcoin apart from buying or selling to speculate. That's all for the current situation. But after the level 2 is reached, players can now spend their Bitcoins on buying other assets. But what can be purchased with Bitcoin now are those cards in the first and second rows. If you notice, the icons next to the first and second rows on investment board and learning board indicate all cards in the rows can be bought with Bitcoin when the global Bitcoin trust reaches level 2. Alright? Then, however, you cannot buy cards in the third row yet, because to purchase the third row of cards, the global Bitcoin trust must reach level 3. Once reached, players can use their Bitcoins to buy or learn the third row of cards. However, it's important to note that there is no change. For example, let's assume Bitcoin is currently priced at $5. What if I want to buy this card this turn? When asked if I can buy it, the answer is absolutely yes. Just pay $5 and you can buy it right away. But the interesting case is when I use Bitcoin to buy this card. How does 8 plus 1 work? Let's calculate the cost to buy this learning card. How much more do I need to pay? Another $4 is required, right? So take 1, 2, 3, and 4. Plus $5 in Bitcoin, $9. See? But let's say if the Bitcoin price goes up now, and let's say it's now priced at $7. If the Bitcoin price is currently at $7, let's take a close look here, because I want you all to see this card as an example. Here, this card is priced at $6. Yes, plus 1, as it's the second row, so it's $7. I can use Bitcoin to make a purchase immediately. You're clear with it? But if Bitcoin is priced at $10 now, and I want to buy this card with Bitcoin, you might wonder if I can buy it. 6 plus 1 equals 7. The price of Bitcoin is $10. Yes, you can buy it, just take it, but there's no change. In this game, there won't be any changes if you buy something with Bitcoin because we can't really split this physical Bitcoin token in half, right? This is the significance of Bitcoin in this game. The higher the level of global Bitcoin trust, the more Bitcoin can be used to purchase things around. The Bitcoin used to buy investment or learning cards should be placed on the board in order from the top empty slots to bottom. Importantly, if the global Bitcoin trust reaches level 4, that's where it gets interesting. Why? Because in this game, as I'll explain at the end, the scoring system will be revealed later. But let me give you a little spoiler. If 1 Bitcoin only gets you 1 wealth point, see? 1 Bitcoin equals 1 wealth point. However, whenever the global Bitcoin trust level gets high, that's a very interesting point for the game, especially in the end. Why? Because 1 Bitcoin will no longer be worth 1 wealth point, but 1.5 wealth points. This means the world is increasingly accepting Bitcoin, and importantly, if global Bitcoin trust is at level 4 every time the investment card bubble crash event occurs. What's next? Imagine this. It will cause the price of Bitcoin to rise. It's like when people are fleeing from investment and moving their money to Bitcoin. Now let's see the different results when a bubble crash event occurs on each asset. As mentioned earlier, every time we take any action, we must always move the FOMO track up by 1 step. This raises the question, what happens when the FOMO track reaches its peak? The simple answer is that a bubble crash event will occur. For example, it occurs with Bitcoin. Focus on the Bitcoin board. Right now, the FOMO track is at position 8, right? Whenever someone performs an action on the Bitcoin board, that means the FOMO track will move from 8 to 9, which is the peak. This is when a bubble crash event occurs. What will happen next? The answer is that it's when all players have to face a challenge together. Let's see what it is. The player aid will be provided in the box to help players know what will happen after a bubble crash event. In the case of Bitcoin, the player aid says the Bitcoin price will decrease by 2 steps. This means from 11, take a large red candlestick into the price board. So from 11, the price will fall to, it's 7 now. Wow. Whoever has a lot of Bitcoins might think, oh, instead of selling Bitcoin at a high price, I have to sell lower now. Next, the player aid says the gold price will increase by 1 step. Then, you know what? Gold is regularly called a safe haven. It's seen as a safe asset. When a crisis occurs, its price usually gets higher, assuming people move their money to a safer place like in gold. In this case, if a bubble crash event occurs on Bitcoin, the price of gold increases by 1 step. Next, every player should focus on their individual player boards. Every time a bubble crash event occurs on Bitcoin, the trust in Bitcoin will decrease by 1. For example, I have 3 Bitcoin trust slots now. After the bubble crash, 1 slot becomes locked like this. This means at first I could buy up to 3 Bitcoin tokens, but now I can hold only 2. There will be another case like this. A player might have as many Bitcoins as the slots are available, but when the last available trust slot becomes locked, a Bitcoin on the slot that has just become locked will be forced to be sold. After that, you might wonder this. After the trust has just become locked and the Bitcoin on it is forced to be sold, how many dollars will the seller get in this case? Place the sold Bitcoin on top as always. Right now, the current Bitcoin price is at 7, right? After plus 1, 8. When it's a basic sale, the seller gets $8 here. But if it's a forced selling case, the receive will decrease by 2, 8 minus 2, which makes it $6. As you can see, forced selling makes 8 become 6. See? So remember to avoid being forced to sell in this game, or you might get the loss. Lastly, the player aid says after a player decreases a trust, the world will trust in Bitcoin less than before. So the global Bitcoin trust, which is at the center, also decreases. How many steps? It's the number of players minus 1. For example, there are 4 players. 4 minus 1, 3. Global Bitcoin trust turns back by 3 steps, 1, 2, and 3. If there are 3 players, 2 steps. If 2 players, 1 step. If a bubble crash event occurs on gold, it's not much different from when it does on Bitcoin. When the FOMO track moves up to its peak, the bubble crash event occurs. What's next? Just follow what player aid says. In case of gold bubble crash, the price of gold will absolutely fall down significantly. Large candlestick for 2 steps. From 9 it falls by 2 steps to 6. When the gold price rises, it's from 4, then 5, 6, and then 8. Next is 9. So when it falls by 2 steps, it quickly becomes 6. Now, according to the player aid, 1 gold trust is forced to be decreased to 1 step here. So the latest available slot has to become forced as locked. This player can hold up to 5 gold bars, but it becomes 4. That's all. Easy, right? In the same way, let's say this player has 3 slots available. When the 3rd slot, which is the latest available slot, becomes locked, the gold on it is forced to be sold just like in the Bitcoin case. How many dollars? Right now it's $6. But because it's forced sale, like a panic sale, so from 6 it minus 2, so it's $4. Next, you now might wonder about the bubble crash event on the investment card. It is in the same way as other assets. When the FOMO track moves up from 8 to its peak at 9, that's the only when a bubble crash event occurs. It's time to read the player aid again. I'll tell you that you don't need to remember any details on the player aid. Just read it when necessary. First of all, when a bubble crash event occurs on investment card, the gold price rises by 1 step. It's common when a crisis occurs in the real world and the gold price gets higher. What's important next? It gets interesting when Global Bitcoin Trust reaches level 4. As earlier mentioned, when the center arrow points at level 4, we're now in the age of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin behaves like gold does. As a result, Bitcoin price rises by 1 step when Global Bitcoin Trust is at level 4. If not level 4, this doesn't happen, alright? The next step is stated that every player has to decrease their investing card trust by 1 slot. For example, this player currently has 3 available investment card trust slots, 1, 2, and 3. So he can hold up to 3 cards right now. Decrease by 1 according to the player aid, so now he can hold not more than 2 cards. By the way, in the case that this player holds a card right here, 3 trust slots are available while he holds 3 cards. Whenever the last card slot becomes locked like this, you could guess what happens, right? Previously, he has just been able to hold up to 3 cards, but now it's only up to 2 cards, as you can see. What a bad luck. This means a forced selling again. But a good luck is that in this game, the player doesn't need to choose only the latest card to be forced to be sold. It could be another card. For instance, he chooses this card. He picks it out, move the below card upwards, and then lock the slot. So how much will he get in this case? Easily. Let's break through it together. Look at the card price. This card is named Gold Shop, priced at $8. Add the inflation rate in. 8 plus 4 makes 12. Normally, when a card is sold, its price is always minus 2. 12 minus 2 makes $10. For a normal sale, this card gets you $10. But if it's a forced sale, it's not minus 2, minus 4. It means this card, which could be normally sold at 12, minus 4, which makes it only 8. So in this case, the player is forced to sell the card for only $8. So I have to warn you all to beware, because this is an important factor which can cause you to lose the game. Manage your trust slots well, or you could get the loss from the bubble crash event. That's not all yet. There's more for you all to know. Whenever a bubble crash event occurs on the investment card, there's one more step after completely decreasing the trust and increasing the gold price. Don't forget to pay the maintenance cost. Wow, what is the maintenance cost? I hope you could remember what I once talked about the elements on a card. This gear icon below is the maintenance cost, and as you can see, for this card, it's $1. Another card is Single House with the maintenance cost at $1. It means this player has to pay a total of $2 when a bubble crash event occurs. There is another interesting case for you to know. You might wonder, what if the player doesn't have enough money to pay? Whoa, this is dangerous. For example, this player has to pay the maintenance cost for $2. What if he doesn't have enough money to pay? The answer is sadly simple. He has to be forced to sell a card again to get some money so that he can pay for the maintenance costs. Let's say I have no any money right now, but I have to pay $2. What to do? I have to choose a card to be sold. Let's say I choose this card. It's a forced sale. No, I shouldn't, as it contains 3 wealth points. I choose this one with 2 points instead. Its price is $10. Add the inflation rate in, which is now at 4. So normally this card could be sold for $14. If it's a normal sale, -2. But if it's a forced sale, -4. So 14 minus 4 makes 10. This player has to be forced to sell this card to get only $10. And then he has to pay the maintenance cost with the money recently received. For this card, the maintenance cost is $1. He pays $10 and get a change of $9. See? It's done. What's next? The player aid also says when all mentioned tasks are cleared off, it's time to reset all face-up cards in the bottom row. So I'll take out all the cards in the bottom row and then move all the above downwards like this. And then open 3 new cards and place them on the top empty slots. This is what happens when a bubble crash event occurs on the investment card zone. Let's repeat it. First of all, when the FOMO track reaches its peak, the gold price rises by 1 step. Next, if the global Bitcoin trust is at level 4, Bitcoin price rises too. But if it isn't, don't need to raise it. Every player is forced to decrease one of their individual investment card trusts by 1 slot. In the case that there's a card on the slot that has just become locked, the card is forced to be sold. -$4 in the case a card is forced to be sold. After that, don't forget to pay for the maintenance costs, and if any player has not enough money to pay, that causes another card to be forced to be sold. Lastly, reset all the investment cards which are facing up in the bottom row. Let's move to the learning board. There is no FOMO track on it. What you see is called the high knowledge track. So on this board, there's no bubble crash, but it's called a high knowledge situation when players learn too much and the track moves up to its peak. What will happen? Let's read on the player aid. It says that every FOMO track of each asset moves up by 1 step. Bitcoin FOMO track moves up by 1 step. Gold FOMO track moves up by 1 step, and also investment card FOMO track moves up by 1 step. This is what to beware of too. When a player triggers this, every FOMO track moves up by 1. After that, first of all, just place a block token on the latest bottom slot. In this case, it is at 0, and then reset the high knowledge track. Do it like this from 9 to 1. That's it. Then reset a card in the bottom row. Move all the remaining cards above downwards and open a new card right here. That's all for it. As you can see, it's simple, right? In the same way, if players keep learning and learning until the high knowledge track reaches its peak again, every FOMO track moves up by 1 step, and then place a block token on the bottom slot like this, and reset the high knowledge track again. What does this mean? It means the longer the game takes time, the more often high knowledge track resets, and everything will keep faster round by round. After every player has already placed their workers here to pass the action phase. But in the real world, it's impossible that there are only 4 investors in the market, right? We all know now it's an exciting time. What is the world's FOMO now? Let's see it by opening a FOMO card. What is it? It's the event to increase FOMO track on each board. This FOMO card says Bitcoin FOMO rises by 3. Gold FOMO rises 1. Follow it from left to right. Start with the Bitcoin FOMO. 1, 2, and 3. And if you notice, the Bitcoin FOMO track passes and reaches 2 price increase icons at the same time. So it's a large candlestick for 2 steps. Place it. Bitcoin price currently moves from 13 to 17. Gold FOMO track moves up by 1 step. And nothing happens for now. Done. After revealing a FOMO card, reset all the FOMO tracks which reaches their peaks. After Bitcoin bubble crash, reset Bitcoin FOMO track. After gold bubble crash, reset gold FOMO track. For the investment card too. For example, the investment card FOMO track is at 9. Reset it to 0. After all bubble crashes, don't ever forget to reset the peaking FOMO tracks before going further into the income phase. And now it's time for income phase. First of all, I want you all to look at the character cards. For example, this character card features an income rate at $19 now during its level 2, but he has a card named Commercial Building, which generates a $2 income. Notice the piggy bank icon. See? 19 plus 2 makes 21. So the player gets $21. Take the money into the player board like this. That's all for the dollar income received. It's not complicated at all, right? So now it's time to receive a Bitcoin income. Let's go for that. To receive Bitcoin, it's through Bitcoin mining. To mine Bitcoin, firstly check on your own player board. In this case, the player cannot mine Bitcoin. Why? As you can see, there's no more slot to put a Bitcoin in. So before performing the action of passing the action phase, make sure you have at least one another available slot for a Bitcoin to be put in. But let's say the player has an empty slot before passing the action phase. So the player can mine Bitcoin. To mine Bitcoin, use this dice. Roll it. On the player board, there's a mining machine on it right here. At the start, each player must roll less than 2 on the dice. What does it mean? It's 1. You must roll only 1 on the dice. It's a Bitcoin symbol here. It means if I roll 1 on the dice, I get a Bitcoin. But if I roll 3 on the dice, is it less than 2? No, so I don't get a Bitcoin. You might say, OMG, it's too hard. But I will explain this as simply as I could. To mine Bitcoin, you must random a number which is less than a target number. And right now, it must be less than 2. But if a player wants to increase his chances to mine Bitcoin successfully, the player is undeniably required to upgrade the mining machine. You might notice there are some action slots right here. Let's talk about it. The action is called upgrading mining machines. Let's say I perform this action. In the action phase, I choose to place the worker here. Let's say I'm the brown player and I place my brown worker here. According to the icon, for the first upgrade, it requires $3. Once paid, slide the switch. See? Now it requires the brown player to roll less than 3 on the dice. To explain, less than 3 means 1 or 2. So even though I roll 2 on the dice, I still get a Bitcoin. But if I choose to upgrade further, I have to pay $4. Next is $5. The last one is $5 again. So when the upgrade reaches its maximum, it means when the player rolls less than 6 on the dice, for example, 5 like this lucky player will suddenly get a Bitcoin. This Bitcoin is mine, so when getting it, don't pick one from a slot, but pick it from the common supply zone here, and then place it on the empty Bitcoin Trust slot like this. Make sure you have it before rolling the dice. That's all for mining. Don't forget to have at least one empty slot and remember to upgrade your mining machine. After every player gets their dollars and Bitcoin, don't forget to reset all the cards in the bottom row. Take them out like this. After that, move all above downwards like this and open new cards and place them on the top row like this. Alright? Also, the learning card. Take the bottom card out and move all above downwards. Open a new one onto the top. Further, after resetting the cards, now it's time to reset the turn order. To do that, firstly move all the workers above out of the row and then move all the workers below upwards like this. As you can see, the turn order has just changed. You could notice that the earlier a player passes the action phase in the previous round, the earlier they play in this round. Perfect. That's all you should know for one round. And when the next round starts, it begins with the preparation phase. Move the round track. Right now we're in round 2, right? So let's move it here like this. You might also wonder what this icon is. To be simple, it indicates that you should place one block token on top. Currently, this is the latest block. And now I guess you see it more clearly. The longer the game takes, the more block tokens are placed, and it increases the chances for each asset to face a bubble crash event. Next, what's this icon? Look, it's the inflation. Inflation level moves up by 1 step. This is not only dangerous but also exciting for the players, because in this game all assets keep rising in price, so manage your money well and beware of the inflation. Next, I want you all to look at this blue icon. It's the breaking news icon. There will be a surprise event about the world's economics showing up and challenging all players. Let's see what happens. This card is named At War. It says the war is occurring on the world now. The inflation increases by 1. So from 5, now it's 6. In reality, when a war occurs, it leads to inflation. So the gold price rises by 2 steps. I think that's real. When countries declare a battle to one another, the gold price usually gets higher in those countries because people are fleeing and moving their money into safer assets such as gold, normally called the safe haven. What else does the player aid say? It says to know whether Bitcoin price will be higher or lower, just take a look at the global Bitcoin trust. If it's at level 4, the Bitcoin price will get higher because it behaves like gold does. But the global Bitcoin trust is less than level 4 at level 2 now. The player aid says the Bitcoin price will fall by 2 steps. A large red candlestick here. Wow, falling sharply. After the current breaking news card results in, it's time for all players to start the next round. Here, just move the round track normally when it's from round 1 to 2 or round 2 to 3. Nothing is complicated. But for round 3 to move into the round 4, you could notice there is an icon here. It says to take out all the Era 1 investment cards. Take them all out. Again, all. And then randomly replace them with the Era 2 cards. The Era 2 cards will drive the game like crazy. Very expensive, but very potential. Their theme is futuristic, so their names sound fictional. For example, in Era 1, you could see the city center land. But in Era 2, you could see... Let's see the first card as an example. It is the land on Mars. Whoa, this card contains 5 wealth points. So if you hold it, you get 5 wealth points at the end of the game. But as I have just said, it's an Era 2 card, so it is very expensive even without inflation. It's $29. Land on Mars, space tourist business, underwater house, high-end penthouse, robot factory. They sound like fiction or fantasy, right? But their potential are very high too, despite the very expensive price. So it is also important to build and stack your income well since the Era 1 period, because it could help you have enough wealth to buy the Era 2 cards, and when the round track is at round 5. So, after all players pass their action phase, every player then get their income for the last time. It means after the round 5 ends, all players get their income. They get dollars, they mine Bitcoin. After mining Bitcoin, the game ends. So it's time to see your scores. It's the time you all might wait for. Let's count the score and see which player wins. There will be the scoreboard provided in the game box. And how to count the score is written in order like this. So let's follow it step by step. It starts with Bitcoin. If the global Bitcoin trust is at level 1 to 3, 1 Bitcoin means 1 score. For example, if a player has 4 Bitcoins, he or she gets 4 points. Just move 1, 2, 3, and 4 like this. But if the global Bitcoin trust is at level 4 or more, 1 Bitcoin means 1.5 points or 2 Bitcoin means 3 points. For example, if a player has 2 Bitcoins, move 1, 2, and 3 like this. Simply Bitcoin gets you the highest score rate now because the world trusts it. Next, it's gold. 1 gold means 1 point. Simply the more you have gold, the more you move your on the scoreboard. Next is fiat money. $20 means 1 point. Mining machines could get you 1 wealth point too. Remember, you could upgrade your mining machines to increase your chances to mine a Bitcoin, right? And if you upgrade your mining machine until it reaches its maximum, you get 1 wealth point. Easy as that. What about here? It's the character card. I already told you that players take roles of various characters. The character card also contains wealth points. For example, this player takes an investor role, so the player gets score according to the following details. If this player's XP track reaches the level 2 row, the player gets only 1 point. But if it reaches the level 3 row, the player gets both 1 point below and 1 point here. But if it reaches the level 4 row, the player gets 1 plus 1 plus 2, totally 4 points. That's all for the character card. The wealth point on it sounds simple, right? And for investment cards, each card contains wealth points. For example, this card gets you 3 wealth points at the end of the game. And there are some cards which contain special conditions. See? Apart from 2 wealth points at the end of the game, if the owner has 1 collectible tag or more, the player gets another 1 wealth point. Let's say someone has this card with this card. The player gets 2 wealth points from here for sure, and 2 points from this card. And because of this 1 tag, so the player gets another 1 point. So it's 2 plus 1 plus 2, which makes 5 points. Move it, all right? As you can see, in the game, the more combos you build, the more scores you get. Easy as that. And finally, this is called the majority bonus score. First, whoever has the most Bitcoins gets 2 wealth points. The second most gets 1 wealth point. Whoever has the most golds gets 2 wealth points. The second most gets 1 wealth point. Have the most investment cards, 2 points. The second most, 1 point. And lastly, Whoever has the most dollars get 2 points. The second most gets 1 point. That is how to calculate. That's all for the board game Age of Bitcoin. How is it? This game trains us to be a good investor, right? You think that? It teaches you to notice whether any asset prices are worth investing in each timing. We could learn a lot from it. For example, should you speculate on it? Should you buy it for the end game points or for its ability? And what else you think you got from it? Maybe it teaches you to beware of the FOMO, because every time the FOMO is driven higher, it could lead to a bubble crash event. That's also what usually happens in the real world. And finally, it's about Bitcoin. The more trust people have in Bitcoin, the easier you can play the game. That's adoption. At first, it couldn't be used to buy anything, but eventually it could be used to buy a lot of things. That's how it works. I hope you would like and support this board game. It's the Age of Bitcoin.